Good morning. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday today, right? Happy Thursday to everyone. I hope everybody is having a good Thursday. So far, so good. Um, it was a little hectic this morning, but I am okay. I am here and grateful to see another day above ground. Welcome in. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. That lets YouTube know you're watching. So yes, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Tell a friend that it is now time for Politics in Plain English. We take current political events, and explain what's happening, why it's happening, and what it actually means. So I appreciate those that are here and are watching. You could be any other place, but you are here live with moi. Okay, so we've got a couple of topics that we are going to cover today. We've got a couple of clips to watch, and I'm also going to drop the link for you all to look at the Epstein files yourself. Good morning, good morning, good morning. To actually go through the Epstein files, I told you guys I've been digging into them, and you have to do it with balance, because it can become overwhelming, and it can become overwhelming in the fact that it's really heavy and it's dark. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The Epstein files are very heavy, very dark, and traumatizing to read, to see what these young girls, because that's essentially what they were, these young girls and women had to endure and go through, and the trauma. I can't even imagine what trauma they've had to deal with now, as becoming an adult and learning to navigate through life with that on them. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the airport. Good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about the airport. We're going to talk about the war. But the number one thing, y'all remember yesterday, I'm always dropping little nuggets and hints about things that are to come and to look out for. Yesterday, we talked about Meta and Google. Remember, I told you that the way this New Mexico brought up charges against Meta and Google. And remember, I told you guys that it wasn't looking good for Meta and Google. Well, the jury is holding Meta and Google to $375 million in damages. Yes, you heard me right. $375 million in damages. Now, this is New Mexico's Attorney General. Okay. He was the one that was taking on this charge. And pretty much what the jury, they found them guilty on every charge. Every charge they charged them with, they found them guilty, right? And they're stating that they found them liable on all counts, including willfully engaging in unfair and deceptive and unconscionable trade practices. So what does that mean? That means Meta, Meta owns Facebook and Instagram, right? So they're looking at the trade practices. They're looking at what type of ads are rolling through. They're looking at what type of content is being driven. The algorithms are being driven to certain individuals. They're looking at all of these things. They also said that it has faced concerns about the risk to kids and teens and platforms from parents, whistleblowers, and these whistleblowers are coming from former employees. Thank you, Boo. Former employees. And what it's stating was that there were employees that were raising alarm bells and having grave concerns about what they were letting happening. A lot of people were against. I know you guys have seen ads that is Instagram for teens, right? And they were raising grave concerns about this because how easy is it for an adult to go in and put in a date of birth that would put them at a teenager's age? Just think about that, right? If a teenager can create a profile to make them look like an adult, it's really not that hard for an adult to then create a profile so that they are in the teenage algorithm. Danger zone number one. Advocates, parents, and lawmakers have been screaming that. Do you guys remember when President Barack Obama was like, no bank is too big to fail? Remember the too big to fail thing, and then the bank collapse happened? It's pretty much the same thing with Meta. They're thinking they are too big to fail because they're buying up all of these social media platforms and are able to drive this, because we know a lot of people get their information off of social media. They run ads on social media. They've got all of these things going on social media. So they think that they're too big to fail. Well, New Mexico said, not so fast. Not so fast. Now, we do expect for Meta and Google to appeal this, but I do not think they're going to win this appeal. I think they would be better off. Their legal counsel is probably going to tell them to, hey, you need to tighten your reins up, okay? Which is another reason why Mark Zuckerberg has been cozying up to Donald Trump so closely, so that there are not rules. He is not held to the same standards, and so that they loosen the grip on having policies and rules and, you know, pretty much guardrails placed around them. They don't want that, right? But also, New Mexico is not the only place that they need to worry about. There's cases in LA, okay? We know Silicon Valley is in California, right? Those are tech giants. If you don't know anything about Silicon Valley, that's where all the tech companies, the startup companies, that is the melting pot for that, Silicon Valley. LA is considering a separate case right now, bringing pretty much similar charges as well. And in it, it is stating that there are addictive features. You know how, think about it, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you check your phone and you begin to scroll, and now all of a sudden you can't stop scrolling, like TikTok, you go down a rabbit hole, or Instagram, you're scrolling, you click on something else to see, and it leads you to something else, and then you see this ad, you see that ad, this is that, and now you're wide awake and 3 hours have gone by. Well, it is stated that there's addictive features in social media to make us do these things and not be able to put the phone down, right? To constantly have the phone in our hand, to constantly check and or post on social media. They've also found that some of these features have harmed women and young girls' mental health. You know, the beauty standards, to this, to that, allowing people to get bullied, harassed. And what I see happening, we've already seen laws become very strict, have become stricter for people on social media due to the pandemic, right? But what I first see happening, the laws are going to get stricter. The laws are going to get stricter and stricter and stricter on this. And I think people need to be aware and very careful of what they're doing on social media, because social media is now a footprint for charges. You have people who are being harassed and bullied on social media. People are doing revenge porn on social media, hate speech on social media. It's so many different things that are happening, and they're using social media as a tool. But what people have to realize is that is also, that falls in that interstate law, right? So if you're threatening somebody, if you live in Nebraska and threatening somebody in Chicago, you're violating interstate laws right there. And could potentially, depending on how large it is, could be potentially be brought up on federal charges, right? Because you're crossing state lines. So you have to be like really careful about these things. And Google is in this too. So I do foresee YouTube tightening up on what's going on. I do think we will start to see the suppression of, different algorithms, where I don't really think we're going to see a lot of things no longer really be available to you. You'll have to dig a lot harder, where they'll be suppressing certain algorithms where there is really explicit language, explicit activity, harassment, bullying, all of that falls underneath that. I do think we're going to see a suppression of that. And we're going to also see it be a financial hit for that style of content, where YouTube is no longer going to push that style of content, because everybody loves drama. Drama sells, da da da. But then there's certain levels of drama. I think we're going to start seeing the AdSense dip. That's what I think, to push it, to basically encourage content creators to not go that way, right? To push them into doing other types of content. Because right now, the number one source of content is either watching people vlog their daily lives. We like to see the comeback kid. We like to see people win. So we're seeing that. Of course, politics, and beauty is a big thing. So I think we're going to see a push in there. I do think laws are going to tighten really hard. Like, we're going to start seeing laws really rein a lot of this stuff in for that. Good morning. I do think we're going to do that. There are hundreds and hundreds of cases that have been brought by individuals, school districts, and state attorneys. And you've got whistleblowers that were employees that are actually testifying. So this is where Meta is going to lose. They're losing because people that have documented, because one of the gentlemen that was in deposition, he was a former employee, and he had it documented where him and several other people were raising alarm bells on how this is harmful. And they refuse to listen because they're looking at money, right? They're looking at the more people we have that have accounts, the more movement, the more addictive they are, the more money we make, right? So I do believe this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, as I told you guys yesterday. Bigger, bigger, and bigger. And just, watch and see, watch, wait, and see how this is going to turn out, because I do think more states are going to take the path that New Mexico took. And we're going to probably see like a class action lawsuit happen. The states are charging them, but I also see I really foresee class action lawsuits happening and them having to pay an enormous amount. I really do. And they're going to have to change the way the platforms are ran. Mark my words, you heard it here first from me. And speaking of, social media, I ran across this yesterday and I could do nothing but laugh. Thank you. You have a great weekend too. I could do nothing but laugh. So I just wanted to share this to you because I know the news can be a little heavy, but I like to laugh too. You all know the content creator Drewski. He's always doing these skits. He's always doing these, parodies. He's always doing this type of stuff. He is hilarious. Good morning. He is hilarious. He is beyond funny to me. I want to show y'all. And I think we touched on this yesterday, white women in America, right? I want to show y'all him doing a parody of the way white women, actually, it was for Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk, how she looks. And she does look quite foolish, if you ask me. She really does. And so I thought it was hilarious to see him do this. Hold on one moment. Let me cue it up for you guys. Hold on. I think it's quite hilarious. Okay. And we're going to watch this together. Give me just a second here. Okay, y'all ready? This was so funny to me.
Get on your feet, boy!
War is raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
how about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. We're all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
Congratulations! Sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. And Bella will have all organic pup cup.
organic.
Yes, everything organic.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? 4, 3, 7. Oh, Hannah, you good? 4, 3, 2. Hold your chest lifted. We're gonna lift.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs. Yes, because they are the ones who mattered most.
Y'all, I think I've watched that probably like 5 times. I'm very guilty of that. I think I watched that like 5 times. Hilarious. Hilarious, hilarious. But he was spot on. And he's got Twitter and Threads in a tizzy. They're in a tizzy behind their poor little Erica Kirk, and no one cares. Like, no one cares about that grifter. We know she's grifting off of that man's death, who I think that was planned all along. But hey, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I do think that I do think that she's a grifter. But anywho, so moving right along, we still have long lines. Still have long lines at the airport. Okay. Gas is $107 a barrel. More than 480 TSA workers have quit since mid-February. On Tuesday, more than 30% of TSA workers called out from New York airports, Houston airports, Atlanta airport, and New Orleans airport. That means 50,000 TSA officers are working for free. Like, let's stop making it fluff. I hear they're working without pay. No, they're working for free. Let's call it what it is. They're working for free right now. They're working for free. And let's also correct this as well. They were funded. There was money allocated for them to be paid right now. But Kristi Noem was too busy, okay, paying for everything else, like her cosplay outfits, her horrible makeup, and her rendezvous on them private jets of hers with that secret, not so secret lover boy that isn't her husband. Catch. She was too busy doing that. And we have entered in day 40. 40, day 40. That is a month and a week. Month and 10 days. She was too busy getting lip injections. We see the holes around her lips, like all of them. I don't know what their obsession is with that. Well, we know what their obsession is with that. But there was funding for them. But it was spent on her gallivanting on a horse, looking like a damn fool, making these commercials, and her commercials showing up at airports. And there was a lot of airports that refused to show her commercial because they said, this is propaganda. And that's not supposed to go on at the airport. That's actually illegal for an airport. So yeah. That's still going on. We know that's still going on. And we know that Trump has told them do not make any deals with the Democrats. So I don't know when the Republicans are going to wake up and realize that Trump is not going to be in office forever, and realize that there is no way now for them to be disassociated with him, and that the voters are going to remember this. Your workers, people that are traveling, right? And we're coming up on the Easter holiday weekend, spring break, all of these different things. And also, TSA has also said that because it's so many people working for free, this could lead to smaller airports being closed. You heard that right. Smaller airports being closed. So you know who also that hurts? That also hurts people that have to travel, right, out of those smaller airports to get to the bigger airports. That also affects anybody else that works in the airport. You've got your food, right? That's there. You have your ticket agents, and it also is going to hurt the airline's bottom line as well. And we already know Delta said, we're not letting any congresswomen, men and women, or senators skip the line. They've got to stand in the line like everybody else. They have put a halt to special services. So now they're going to have to deal with standing in those lines for hours upon hours upon hours. And I hope as they're coming in there and people identify and realize who they are, I hope it's a crowd full of boos and sign the bill just to fund them, right? I hope they get heckled. Am I mean for saying that? I hope that they get heckled. I hope they see no peace while these folks are working for free. That's just the way that I feel about that. Call me petty, but I think we should get a little petty with them. You know what I mean? And talk about being petty. Iran is still being the pettiest of pettiest of pettiest right now. Iran has pretty much said, we ain't signing for that peace deal, that ceasefire. We ain't going. We don't trust you. Ukraine is now saying that they have irrefutable evidence that Russia provided Iran intel. We knew this already. Why do we know this? Because we know that Trump has already sold this country out. We know this already. Like, we completely know this already. We know that Trump has absolutely sold this country out. We know that those files that he had in Mar-a-Lago, that only 6 people had the security clearance to see, he was showing people on the golf course and in the ballroom what they were. Okay. This is Pam Bondi's boy, the attorney general, who was the attorney general down there. Remember that. 4,600 have been killed in this war. And Trump has been saying the quiet part out loud. He got caught saying it yesterday. His dementia is sinking in for sure now because he talks too much. So he finally said the quiet part out loud. He calls it a military operation because that's the only way to skip over. Hear what I said? He calling it a military operation because he knows that that is the way, that's the loophole to skip over Congress, right? So I want you to hear it out of his own mouth, honestly. I just want you to hear it out of his own mouth. This man, again, y'all know what I like to say. If his mouth is moving, he's probably lying. Here he goes.
But they're doing it for two reasons. No, number one is they want to deflect from all of the tremendous success that we're having in this military operation. I won't use the word war because they say if you use the word war, that's maybe not a good thing to do. They don't like the word war because you're supposed to get approval. So I'll use the word military operation.
So he's very aware of what he's doing with this war. They've instructed him, the people around him have instructed him, if you call this a military operation, you can skip over Congress. Now, see, in the court of law, this is an admission. This is a mission of manipulation. This is a mission of extorting the loophole. That's what this is. All these trials after Trump is no longer in office are going to be deadly. They're going to be worse than whitewater, but carry on.
Which is really what it is. It's called a military decimation. But they don't like the good publicity. They don't like to see us succeed. They want to see our country fail.
And we're succeeding. If we're succeeding at, thank you so much. If we're succeeding at this, then why are we sending, thank you so much for that super chat. If we're succeeding at this operation, why did they approve 3,000 troops? If we're succeeding at this operation, why is there 1,000 paratroops? Paratroops are the one that are coming down from the air. Okay. They're parachutes. If we're succeeding, why can't our vessels come through the Strait of Hormuz? If we're succeeding so much, this is what I just really want to understand. If we're winning so much, then why is it that your approval rating is in the garbage can? If we're succeeding so much, why is it that gas prices are higher than a giraffe's ass? If we're succeeding so much and winning at everything, why are groceries? A month worth of groceries is the same as a car note on a luxury car. If we're succeeding, okay? If we're succeeding so much, why is it that our air quality is disastrous? If we're succeeding so much, why is it numbers have come out? ADP has reported only 16,000 jobs since the beginning of the year have been produced. If we're succeeding so much, why is it that over 300,000 Black women have been forced out of the workforce and now Black men are being forced out of the workforce? Why is it that our produce is so high? Why are goods tariffs? If we're succeeding so much, if we're winning, we're on the winning team so much, then to add insult to injury, y'all, this punk ass, I gotta call it what it is. Sorry if I get a little gutter for y'all. This punk ass doesn't even read his security briefings in the morning. You know what he does? He's got the people around him creating videos like this is a video game, y'all. Videos. He has been showing daily videos of things being blown up, and in his mind, we're winning because we're blowing up. Just watch this real quick. Just watch this real quick. This gonna blow y'all mind, okay? Just watch this.
Is deploying 3,000 more troops to the Middle East, even as the U.S. sends a peace proposal to the Iranian regime. Here at home, gas prices continue to rise, and a new poll shows that 60% of Americans think Donald Trump has gone too far in waging war against Iran. And brand new reporting shows that Donald Trump's grasp of how the war is going is based on clips of, quote, stuff blowing up. Let's begin with that astounding piece of reporting. 3 current and 1 former U.S. official telling NBC News, quote, each day since the start of the war in Iran, U.S. military officials compile a video update for President Donald Trump that shows video of the biggest, most successful strikes on Iranian targets over the previous 48 hours.
Which also leads to what I said to you guys last week. I don't think he can read. I think he's incompetent. I think he probably reads on maybe a first or second grade level. And he doesn't have comprehension skills, but these comprehension skills tie into the fact that we do see a flailing president who has dementia. He does. He's a sick man. He has dementia and he has, what is it? Irritable bowel syndrome, where he can't control his own bowels. There's a slew of things that are wrong with him. But they were worried about Sleepy Joe. But one thing we know about Sleepy Joe would have never had us in this. That's what we do know.
Well, officials say that Trump has plenty of conversations about the war with foreign leaders and his aides and cabinet members. NBC News reports that, quote, the video briefing is fueling concerns among some of Trump's allies that he may not be receiving or absorbing the complete picture of the war now in its fourth week. But right now, the reality of war is puncturing Trump's delusions. Just a day after Trump said the U.S. won the war, a day after Trump said talks with Iran were going well, and that he got a, quote, very big present, but did not say what it was, a diplomatic source inside Iran tells us that the U.S. regime has rejected a 15-point peace proposal sent by the Trump administration through the government of Pakistan, which is acting as an intermediary. Iran has now issued its own set of demands. And the New York Times reports that, quote, privately, however, some Iranian officials had said as late as Tuesday that Iran was considering meeting with U.S. negotiators in Islamabad, Pakistan over the next week to discuss Mr. Trump's proposal, but would not entertain a temporary ceasefire. The growing gap between what Trump says about the war and the reality of the conflict and potential negotiations is where we start today with Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. She served as a combat helicopter pilot in the Iraq War and is a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, no one better I can imagine to speak to today. Donald Trump says we have won this war. Does that comport with your own assessment?
No, all Donald Trump has done has actually immersed us in yet another unending war. Let's be clear, no one is winning this war. It's unnecessary and it's incoherent. Trump can't articulate a justification that has already, for a war that has already killed 13 of our troops and put thousands of Americans in danger and sent costs through the roof here at home. I mean, he launched a war without true justification and without an idea of how he was going to end it. This is the so-called America First president. Well, that's baloney because, he promised he wouldn't get us into a war like this. Listen, I served in Iraq. That was another endless war. But at least that one at some point had an administration going in front of Congress, debating the war and having a vote on it. And that's what we're demanding here in the United States Senate, that Trump and his administration come forward and tell us and the American people what exactly he's trying to do here and why it was justified. And how does he plan on ending this?
So y'all get the gist, right? This man is just inept. He had no business being in the White House. He had no business bombing Iran. He has no business making any decisions outside of what color socks he should be wearing today. But yet, Sleepy Joe was the problem. And I have plenty of things that I could say about Sleepy Joe, but this isn't one of them. Okay. This man is dangerous. He's a disaster. And he's a direct reflection of when folks vote for their racism more than they vote for actual policies. This is what happens. So we are here. We are here. We don't know how we're going to get out. They're talking about adding boots on the ground over there, which is going to be a disaster. 3,000 troops have been approved to go over there. 1,000 paratroops. They're asking for $200 billion more dollars. Okay. We're claiming, but in the meantime, while all of this is being orchestrated, good morning, while all of this is being orchestrated, we're saying we're winning. we're saying this, we're saying that. We've won the war. We've obliterated any and everything that Iran has. Well, if that's the case, then why are we still going over there? Why is still the Strait of Hormuz closed to any vessel that is for America or that would help Americans travel through? They're trying to insulate them as security that would escort them through there. It's a no. It's a hard no. It's a hard no. And I think what is going to happen before it's too late, gas right now, the national average is like 381. I think we're going to have to start running out of gas. And I do believe things are going to go haywire and the economy is going to crash, not just nationwide, but globally. That is what I think is going, that is what we're on the brink of. We are. And then lines are going to have to be drawn in the sand. I think with the midterm elections, I think that the Republicans see on the inside that the walls are closing in and they have nowhere to go. They have no way out. And they have plenty of outs to take, but they're terrified of this man who is now talking about he wants a third term, and he said a third term should be a gift to him because he's in the same boat as Netanyahu, is that if he's not in office, he's going to be facing multiple charges. Netanyahu needs war because the moment he's no longer in the war is the moment that he's going to be jailed because his own country found him guilty. But that's another story for another day. Trump is inept. He's asking for a third term, but he's also asking for Congress to not only pay ICE, but he wants the Save America Act, which we're going to start calling Steal the Vote Act. That's how we're going to call this thing. It is no longer Save America Act. It is to be called Steal the Vote Act. You know what I'm saying? Steal the Vote Act, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to disrupt what has been working, because what I find it so crazy is that we've had 40 plus presidential elections. And now all of a sudden, voting by mail is so wrong when plenty of Republican presidents have won where people have voted by mail, and also people that have had actual voter fraud have been Republicans. It has not been who they're trying to frame it to be. It has not been an independent. It has not been a Democrat. It has been Republicans who have been found guilty of this. But right now, he is trying to steal the vote by putting these egregious things in play. You know what I mean? He just really is. He thinks we don't know no better. He thinks he really thinks that Americans are stupid. He really thinks so. Meanwhile, he's trying to do the Steal the Vote Act, because that's what we're going to call it. So now whenever somebody says the Save America Act, let's call it Steal the Vote Act. Correct them and say, no, it's called Steal the Vote Act. And if anybody's running for any type of seats anywhere, Democrat, independent, hey, hit me up. I got some slogans for you. We got to make it stick. Steal the Vote Act. Meanwhile, he voted by mail. That non-English speaking, low book selling wife, because I ain't calling her no president, no first lady. Good morning, good morning. I'm not calling her no first lady. And that 9 foot tall son who seems to be fit for the draft, all mailed in their votes. So it was safe enough for them to mail in their votes, but it's not safe enough for all Americans to use that as a stream of voting, a form of exercising their natural born right as a United States citizen, because it's also in the Bill of Rights. Clock it. If you don't know your Bill of Rights, you better learn it. They have a right to vote. As long as you register correctly and you're not a felon. And even some felons can get that overturned and get their voting rights back restored. There's a lot of organizations who have worked on that. But as long as you have a driver's license or a state ID or a passport, you should be able to vote. And you should be able to vote safe, securely, and soundly, whether it's an absentee ballot, whether it's a mail-in ballot, or whether you're going in to actually cast your ballot at a voting poll. It is. But meanwhile, we got this going on. First Lady Michelle Obama could never. Her book is now on sale at Walmart. It's not even on the rollback prices, baby. It's on the clearance rack. The clearance rack for 99 cents. Because don't nobody care about this woman. Trump don't even care about this woman. Okay. Mind you, she got her, and they love to talk about you need to stand in line to become a citizen. Ask her how she became a citizen. You want to know how Melania Trump became a citizen? She became a citizen off of the Genius, it's the Genius Act, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm saying that right. Basically, it's like for like geniuses, like, you know, Beethoven, like all of these type people. They ushered her in that way. Mind you, she ain't done nothing prolific outside of sucking peen. That's it. She ain't done nothing prolific outside being a Playboy model. She's done nothing prolific outside being an Epstein girl. She has not done anything prolific. And then what happened was her parents then was ushered in as citizens as well. Talk about standing in line. Skip the line if you ask me. She's not even living at the White House. Don't let him fool you, okay? Don't let him fool you. And she tries to hide behind hats and stuff. We see you, girl. We see you, girl. See, what's good for the goose is supposed to be good for the gander, but see, in their case, it's only good for us and the people we deem that it's good for. So the rest of y'all have to endure X, Y, and Z. No, that's not the way that the legal system works. That's not the way the framework of the Constitution is. There is a way to achieve citizenship, and they're cheating. They cheat all the way around. Again, they're trying to cheat on this Voting Act. They're cheating on this. And you notice they ripped her movie out of movie theaters because it wasn't selling. They were buying up and handing them to like congressmen and women's clerks and assistants and things like that, just to try to boost it up, and it was empty. Nobody cares about her. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about her whatsoever. And while they're trying to fool us into this stuff right here, right? Yesterday, our Treasury declared us. I want y'all to look at this. Yesterday, our Treasury said that the U.S. is technically insolvent. Whew. They said we're technically insolvent. Let that sink in. This has never happened before. We are technically insolvent. 6.06 trillion in assets. 47.78 trillion in liabilities. I know we got some math folk in here, okay? So let's put this in, let's break this down. Let's break down that first part, okay? Hear me closely. The Treasury has stated the U.S. is technically insolvent. 6 trillion in assets, but 47 trillion in liabilities. What does that mean? That means you got $10 in the bank while you trying to swipe your card to buy groceries for $50. You heard me right. You got $10 in the bank and you at your local Walmart trying to swipe that good old debit card for $50. That's where the United States is, okay? That is 8 times more debt than the assets. And this is coming straight from the Treasury Department. This is nonpartisan, straight numbers. In 1 year, for all those that voted because, oh, he's not going to add anything to the national debt. He's going to take us out of the national debt. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. For all of y'all Trump lovers out there, y'all MAGA lovers, let me break this down to you. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. In 1 year, 2 trillion deeper in the hole. 30 trillion federal debt and rising. 15 trillion in benefits owed. Y'all hear? Put him in what? Then they break it down for us again. Let's simplify it. A household making $552K is spending $73K with $60K in assets, owing $1.38 million. That's what it is. Like I said, you got $10 in the bank. You go down to Walmart, you're trying to swipe for $50. America is basically broke. And we're broke because they are funneling all of this money that was supposed to go to these agencies. And I said, watch where this money is going. Follow the money. A lot of money that was allocated for agencies that are, remember when they said, oh, we can't pay SNAP, da, da, da. And then they decreased it to the amount of what you could get paid SNAP. Mark my words, they took that money. The Department of Education, why they were withholding the money, and they're giving little bit by little bit by little bit because they've taken that money. Just like these federal contracts that these companies that had just been established 11 days ago are getting these 7- and 8-figure contracts, is because their friends are owning companies with a shell company, so they can't tell who rightfully owns it. They can only tell the companies that are connected to it are funneling the money. They stealing out of your pocket, my pocket, our pocket. Imagine what this would happen if this was Barack Obama. Then on top of that, if that is not enough, right? If that is not enough, peep this. The UN voted the slave trade is the gravest crime against humanity. Only 3 countries voted against it. You wonder who 3 that is? Check it out. United States of America, Israel, and Argentina. It's mighty funny that isn't Argentina where Donald Trump spent a lot of money to keep to make sure their voting went one way. Follow me here. Their voting went one way. Mighty funny. We're bombing Iran with Israel. And I want all my church folks to know that Israel today is not the Israel in Bible terms. So I don't want to hear we have to protect the Holy Land and all of that great stuff. Israel is not the Israel of Bible terms. Israel is just as dangerous and disastrous as Iran. I said it. Here goes one of the proofs right here. Neither one of them voted to say that it was a heinous crime, that it was one of the worst crimes that this world has ever seen. We know it was one of the worst crimes we've ever seen. We saw people slaughtered. Do y'all understand during the slave time that they were eating our skin? Go look it up. That they were taking the skin off our backs and making it into boots. Yeah. Let's talk about it. People forget about the history, and it wasn't that long ago, actually. And no, it didn't happen directly to me, but I know what we fought to get where we are. And that's the part that people miss. Oh, but it's not happening right now. Oh, but it is, but it's happening in a different way. It's happening financially, institutionally. That's the way that it's happening. And I look to our allies when they like, oh, well, we had nothing to do with it. We're not asking you to have anything to do with it. What we're asking you is help us undo the laws that are set up to disenfranchise us at a large number. That's what we're asking for. But never forget, this right here, to condemn slavery. These three countries that have something to do with each other voted against it. Just gross, disgusting. I mean, absolutely horrific by all means. Yes, you're reading it right. Your eyes are seeing it right. You're hearing it correctly. This is in 2026. Folks still can't say it was wrong. And then they wonder why people are angry. Anyway, I digress. But see, this is not the only thing that is becoming alarming. Remember, I showed you guys the other day the polling and how now it is a race to the bottom, where Trump is polling at what, 36%, 34% in some polls. And that majority of Americans are against this war. They don't want to send their kids, their brothers, their sisters. They don't even want to draft, which is part of Project 2025, just like not funding TSA is also part of Project 2025. They want to privatize it so that they can do what they want to do with it. Okay. MAGA is starting to turn on Trump. And I know I showed video of some voters, but I want y'all to take a look at big time MAGA supporters who pushed a lot of his propaganda, people that sat with Candace Owens, Kash Patel, people that sat with all of these people, these podcasters, right? Were so pro-Trump, and they are showing, studies are showing that these podcasters were a big reason why a lot of these narratives were spun, and a lot of folks believed that Trump would be able to do this because this is where their source of news was coming from, right? But I want y'all to watch this 5-minute spat, shall I call it, where Owen goes completely off the rails. And I am shocked at what he is saying. And this is very telling as to what is to come, because this was somebody that was so MAGA that he was wiping his behind with MAGA toilet tissue. You know what I'm saying? He just was. But I want y'all to take a look at this. Take a look at this.
This guy is off of his rocker. Folks, I'm telling you. If the Democrats, you watch, don't doubt me on this. If the Democrats win the House and or the Senate, you know they're going to impeach Trump. I'm telling you, the majority of people in this country will beg for Trump to be removed from office. They will beg. They will beg. It's not going to be like some unhinged liberal left, broken mind, broken soul, cringe fest of fraud to get Trump out of office. Americans will be begging to get this orange makeup caked phony traitor out of the White House. They will be begging. And you can sit here and say, well, what about Biden? What about Biden? No, don't you understand that's why? Don't you understand why this is so bad? We're still dealing with Biden-Harris fatigue. That's why this is so much worse. Trump was supposed to be the breath of fresh air. Trump was supposed to give us a relief from this clown world. Now he's just adding to it. Now he's just worse. So yeah, people will beg. They will be begging anyone but Trump. Please, we are sick of this man. And they'll have legitimate reasons to impeach him. And he has been set up by everyone around him for this. They all set him up, and you're going to see it. You're going to see all of it happen. And there's no amount of low IQ Trump cheerleading cult members that can stop this from happening. I don't care how many times they go on their show, their podcast, whatever it is, their social media. I don't care how many times that they try to claim that they're winning. I don't care how many different Trump impressions they do. I don't care how many different Trump memes they make. I don't care how many times they want to attack everybody else. None of it is going to stop this. You guys have no influence. You don't even live in reality. This man, nobody can stand him anymore. I know people with Trump tattoos that are sick of this guy. Oh, Pete, he just loves war. Are you listening to this guy? Are you even listening to him? You watch. There will be such an appetite. There will be such a desperate thirst for an impeachment of Trump if the Democrats win in the midterms. You watch. I guarantee it. And this is what's going to be unfortunate for Trump. He's not going to have the likes of me defending him anymore. All the people that were actually willing to step in the fray, all the people that were willing to get into the crossfire, all the people that were willing to climb the barbed wire for Donald Trump to defend him and defend his honor and his presidency in the last go around, we're all gone. We're all out. We're done. You didn't do what you said. You betrayed us. And then you insulted us on top of it. So we are not going to be there. If Donald Trump thinks Lindsey Graham is going to move mountains for him, if Donald Trump thinks the likes of these low-tier nothings, these cult members that do memes and impressions of him, if he thinks for 1 second any single one of them is going to step into the fray or take some crossfire for him, he's got another thing coming. They will disappear. They will completely disappear. None of them are going to come to your defense, Trump. You chose to ride with the cucks. You decided to ride with the cucks and with the slaves. The strong Americans, the American patriots, the winter warriors, you insulted us. You betrayed us. We are not going to be there for you. As soon as the sun sets and the weather gets cold, all of these people that clean your balls every day and wipe your butt every day and polish your shoes every day, the minute the weather gets bad, none of them will show up, President Trump. And I actually feel bad. I actually feel bad in this case. They're not going to be there for you. And there will be a serious appetite to get you the hell out of the White House because, and it's not all your fault. It is still the Biden fatigue. It is still we were hoping it would be better than Biden-Harris, but now it's just like year 6 of this, and we're just sick of it. And we want somebody that's going to be the president of this country, and we want somebody that's going to follow through on their promises. And we're sick and tired of press conference after press conference after press conference being all about war instead of about the things that our people care about and that our country need and that you ran on.
Quickest way to shrink your prostate.
Best way to fix.
Well, my. Hey, everybody that's coming in, please like, share, and subscribe. My. So y'all remember Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist about that elementary school that got shot up, and he ended up owing all of those people money because he was perpetuating the propaganda that they were crisis actors and that their children never got harmed that way, all this other stuff. He was Alex Jones' buddy. That's how MAGA he is or was. But we are starting to see it change very quickly because, again, being racist is expensive. It is very expensive. And they're starting to see what we've all been telling them, that, you know, people kept saying the lesser of two evils. There was no lesser of two evils. It was evil and not evil. Because why in the hell would anybody be okay with having an administration that is tied so closely to the Epstein files? Just that alone should discuss you. And so here we have Thomas Massey, who has something to say about our dear Pam Bondi, who I keep telling y'all, she's in some deep shit.
Mr. Massey, quick Epstein files question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Is it time for Congress to perhaps appoint a special prosecutor to get these files out? Is that something that's realistic, or what do you make of that?
I think Pam Bondi just needs to follow the law.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. I mean, the special prosecutors and the subpoenas and things like that's what they used to do before they passed laws. I mean, we've literally passed a law. And if Pam Bondi doesn't follow this law, her successor could prosecute her for that. So we're in new territory, and I think it's incumbent upon her to just follow the law.
Any updates at all about when we might be able to see the rest of these documents that haven't been released yet?
I don't know. They're quietly releasing some things
Right.
and unredacting things. They say that they're done, but they're not really done.
Got it. Thank
Thanks.
you, Congressman. Appreciate it.
Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. She needs to follow the law. She's covering up. This whole administration is a garbage pail. Why would people be okay with standing behind people who are actually covering up something that actually happened? Because they call it a hoax. How is it a hoax that you ran on the fact that the Epstein files were going to be released? How is it a hoax when you have actual hundreds of survivors that have been speaking up and speaking out? How is it a hoax when you have people in jail behind it? How is it a hoax? So I told you guys I've been diving into the Epstein files, and I've kind of lightweight become obsessed with it a little bit, I think. Not because it's just amazing that it's this many documents. Good morning. That is this many documents that are floating around. So for those that are interested in it, I'm gonna drop the link to the actual Epstein file archive, where it was basically, we've got some great citizens and things and journalists out here that have compiled this and created a database for this. And you can kind of sift through this and see it. So I'm gonna put that there, and you can just click on that link and you can find it for yourself. But what I want y'all to see is I want you to see how many times Donald Trump, the Trumps, plural, and you're going to see in a minute, the Trumps, how many times they are in these files. And it is alarming. And it's so alarming. It's almost impossible for them to put space between them and Epstein at this time. It is just pretty impossible for this to happen. So as you can see, you use your search, and I put in Trump, right? Just take a look. Now you saw Barack Obama's name in it, and that's because he was under investigation underneath. Some of the investigation started underneath Barack Obama, and then it went into the Biden administration. So you kind of see that in there, but he has nothing to do with files. So please don't get that misconstrued at all. But just take a look at this. Look at Melania. Look at Ivanka. And then look at Trump. Oh, y'all might not be seeing it. Okay, sorry. Look right here. Take a look. got Donald Trump mentioned 3,000 times, 1.2K docs, right? You've got Ivanka mentioned 58 times in 23 docs. And then you've got Melania mentioned 30 times in 11 documents. Then you have Ivana, which I find this really interesting. I find it really interesting that Ivana, who is now deceased, is mentioned. And I would probably put money on it that it has something to do with her being buried at Trump Resort. I really do think that there's something suspicious about that she's buried at Trump Resort. I do think it's suspicious because I wonder what was her real cause of death. And the reason why she was buried there is because it would take a lot of work to get a subpoena, a warrant to go and dig her body up to do a real autopsy, an independent autopsy. Then when you dig deeper in the files, if you search stitches, right? They were violently raping these girls to the point where their private parts were being torn. Okay. They were violently raping these girls to where their privates were being torn. There are doctors that are in this file that they used to stitch them up. And those doctors still have their license today. Oh, it's going to come out and it's going to get nasty. Then there is in the files, Epstein himself was impregnating these girls. And there are a bunch of babies roaming around. We don't know where they are, what they did with them at all. But we do know that there was several OBGYNs that were on payroll. That these young girls were patients of. Because Epstein was infatuated with recreating his genes. He was trying to inevitably create a whole, another gene pool, I guess. Procreate so much. Where are these girls and where are these babies? Just like there were a lot of girls that died at the ranch and on Epstein Island. Where are these bodies? We need to see them. We need to find them. We need answers. Because this will blow up so many things. It's going to be banks. It's going to be agencies. It's going to be politicians. It's going to be international heads. It's going to be a lot of heads, CEOs of companies, doctors, lawyers, accountants. It's going to be so much of that. And yesterday, the lawyer had to confirm that, yes, that young girl, I believe she was 9 or 12 years old, that got paid off because Trump slapped her and she bit him she was paid off. They had to confirm, yes, she was paid off. So that means that verifies that that is true. That he assaulted a girl. Because I wish they would stop calling them women. They're women now for the ones that are still alive. But at the time that it happened, they were girls. School-age girls who was promised so many things and brainwashed, kidnapped, trafficked, abused, and used. All by old, rich, white men. Go figure. Go figure. It is disgusting. It is deep. It is dark. It is disturbing on every level possible. So take your time looking at these files right here. Take your time looking at these files right here. My chat will be on replay so that you can click it, copy and paste it, and go, when you're not busy, you can go take a gander. But type in the search bar different keywords. Click through the people and you'll start to begin to piece some of the things together for yourself. And you'll be able to read some of these emails, some of the things, that are going through. And I'm also doing my due diligence to follow channels and reporters that are reporting on this so we can make a web. We can make a web of how all of these things interconnect. And the real reason why Donald Trump is mad at Jamie Dimon, the head of Chase, because Jamie Dimon closed his bank account and turned over evidence of how payments were being funneled and trafficked through. They had a way of making sure money was only here for a certain amount of time before it got flagged and it was moved here, this way, that way, that way. Always follow the money. Always, 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 always follow the money. That's all I got for today, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you coming to see us here at Politics in Plain English. We take current political events and explain what's happening, why it's happening, and what it actually means. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but I am going to start doing shorter videos as well. Like 7-10 minute clips of just one topic. So please be on the lookout for that. Please subscribe. Please hit that like, subscribe, and share button. That was a tongue tie for me. Y'all know I hate these braces. Comment, if there's a topic that you would like to talk about, let's talk about it. And to make you guys laugh, if you're going to leave a comment underneath my videos, please make sure that you are grammatically correct. So somebody yesterday left underneath one of my shorts when I was talking about voting against your own interest. Some racist person decided to come underneath there. Well, you guys aren't even voting against your own entrance. No. I responded to them and said, come back to me when you know the difference between interest and entrance. So if you're going to leave a comment, and especially if it's going to be hateful, please make sure you're proofreading these things. Okay, please make sure you're proofreading these things, and also be aware and be prepared for my response. I am going to think about getting other political thinkers, junkies onto the show too. I've got some really good friends that we talk about these things a lot. We look at these things, we discuss these things. We're all poli-sci majors, and those poli-sci degrees don't look so bad now when we are competent and we know how the three branches of government are supposed to collectively work, and how checks and balances are supposed to work, and how laws are actually written, and what Congress, what the House does and what the Senate does. Those political science degrees don't look so bad, whether it's associate's degree, a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, a doctoral degree. Don't look so bad. Do it now, sis. When they try to tell you, oh, that's a boring degree, it don't look so bad now. Do it. When we actually, you know, have critical thinking skills, it don't look so bad. But anywho, I will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining me. Remember, keep your eyes wide open. And this weekend, it is No Kings protest. I do think they will be the largest protest that we have seen to date. I think people are pissed. I think they are annoyed and they want their voices heard. And people always ask, well, what do these things do? What do these protests do? It shows a united front. That's what it does. We might not agree on a bunch of stuff, but we do agree on this, that this right here we can't take. So when you see tens of thousands of people, it can't be ignored. And it also shows these are tens of thousands of people that if they are going to march, 10 times out of 10, they're also going to vote. And also, if you see a MAGA lover that is all up, want to do this and want to reach back to Joe Biden and Donald and Barack Obama, ask them, how is winning going for you right now? What are you winning at right now? Ask them that question and wait for the response. What are you winning at right now? What are you winning at right now that racism is cheered on? Is that it? Ask them that one question and see if they can actually answer it without saying Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, or Barack Obama. Ask them that and see if they have the ability to do it. Okay? All right, guys. Well, that's all for now. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend and stay safe.